So today we're going to be taking a look at some Lotus changes that were tweeted out by Floxay, who's done this kind of thing before, where we might be getting some map changes to Lotus. And here we go, right? And so the red parts here are apparently what is going to change. Now, in terms of how real this is, the person who tweeted this out has done this kind of thing before and been, fairly right on what's gone before. So there is some, credence there. And also I think the kind of changes, they look like riot changes, and I'll explain some of that in a second. But yeah, let's take a look. And so the red parts are the parts that have changed. Now here's the thing that I don't know, and we'll see this later on as well, right? So for instance, you got this pillar here, and I assume that this just means that they're gonna add a big like pillar or wall here, whatever you want to call that. The thing that I don't know is whether they are getting rid of some of the stuff like this, right? Would they get rid of this box, or is this box being there with the pillar? We'll see that with some of the things in this where I don't know the answer to that question. So, but there's a possibility that we either have, both the box and this kind of, little wall here, or, we just get the wall and the box is actually gone, but, maybe it's just not gone in this version of it for whatever reason. And of course, it could change at any time. But here's the big change, right? Or here's at least the first kind of noticeable change is this on towards C just here. So, the C, this wall on C is basically being extended out. And that means that as you come in onto the C site from the attacking side, you now have to deal with both sides, right? So now there could be a left-right kind of crossfire going on. And also, there's multiple boxes here, which means multiple head levels on this box as well, right? And you can already see like a judge sitting in here, just the stuff of nightmares for the attackers here, just a judge sitting in this corner. You can already see that that is definitely going to be something you're now going to have to deal with. And obviously, this is going to make it a lot harder for the attackers to actually get on to the C site. Now, one way I could see people trying to deal with this is actually doing a smoke that Fnatic do quite a lot anyway, with an agent like Astra, where you actually come and put a smoke in a position like this. Right, I could see this happening. This is something Fnatic do already that just helps them get across, just across here. But now that, you have to deal with this angle as well across there, this smoke is just going to help you break any crossfire there and allow you to clear this, and also be there to, help you get across on towards the backside as well. So I could see, that becoming kind of maybe a bit more part of the meta, right? That any kind of smoke just in here, just blocks people off who might be playing up at the top there, on top of the platform. It's going to break that crossfire and just allow you to come and clear this corner safely. Now, if we run the video forward a bit, let's talk about the next change, which the next thing I want to talk about is this wall. Now, there's a couple things with this wall. Again, don't know if this box would be here. Looks like you would maybe be able to jump onto this wall from kind of the platform here at the top of the platform. Don't know, though, of course, and I'm not even sure if that would be that useful. But this wall, again, is just kind of sectioning the site off into different angles. Again, another judge in here, like behind this wall. I mean, God. The seaside's becoming a judge's paradise, which is not great. But let's move it forward, and we'll come to this. Now, this is what I will call a riot change, and I will explain why. So, in a lot of the maps recently, you will see changes like this, where spaces are getting like smoothened out, right? Think of the wall on Breeze on B site, where it went from like this jaggedy wall like that, and they just made it like this. Right, like that's the kind of change Riot has been doing a lot of recently, and I think, we're going to continue seeing that across all the maps. Now, right now, for those of you who are wondering, and I'll show you in a second, this is clear, and the stairs are at a higher angle. But now let's go into the map to talk about, why have they even made this change? So this is what it looks like now, right? Like this is just part of the water again, and then you have the stairs. Now, if I had to guess why they have made this change and making it, like a more like platform, so you'd be like maybe like this, and that's less steep in general, it's a couple reasons. One, I think might be this, right? In just this little change there that's like not fluid, and probably I would guess that this ramp, ends more smoothly like that. And then this is, like comes and be a full platform kind of thing, which makes sense because this is just one of those things where sometimes when you're peeking, up here and all of a sudden someone's like way higher than they were before, and it's like, what's going on, right? As you're in maybe the middle of a gunfight. So one thing could be that. Also, another thing I think is, when people are doing this and they're defending and they're just like going up and down and up and down, by making it less steep, right, that means that this, you have to actually go back further, right? It's not just like a, oh, peekaboo, like, oh, I'm up, I'm down, oh, I'm up, I'm down, like that kind of thing. Making it less steep just means that that is, less of an issue for attackers having to deal with people, just coming up and down, like whack-a-mole. Okay, as we move on forward again here, the next thing to talk about is this big old wall here. which again could be very interesting. Be interested to see if this wall can be spammed. My guess would be that it's probably going to be like this one, and yes, it can be spammed, but we'll have to see if and when it does come. But this wall, I mean, it's going to be interesting. It kind of splits the site, obviously, more into two. This kind of, you got the lower path here, and now you got the higher path, right? And this wall just, kind of is extending that to be almost like, a bit deeper in terms of two different steps. Obviously, I mean, I'm sure many of us have been in this situation, right? You plant the spike here, and you just feel like you have nowhere to go, right? You're just trapped here. And this wall doesn't fully alleviate that, right? You'd still have to like come and swing towards CT here, but if there is no one there, or if it's smoked off or something like that, at least you have somewhere to move to, right? At least there's some protection from people coming this way, which might help in a way, right? Like just help you have somewhere to go, something to play around with, somewhere to do something, which is quite nice. And then if we move on forward a bit more, then we get this as well. Again, cleaning up of this ramp here, right? Again, this ramp, he actually goes and sees what it's like underneath here, right? This ramp maybe a bit jaggedy, maybe a bit uneven. This is a very riot change again, where, maybe parts of this were a bit uneven. Now it's just, just fully clear ramp, right? And then you've got these boxes added in here as well, which again, for post plant for attackers, not so much for the defenders. This one is more of a post plant thing, where you're going to have just different head levels again, different, variations. This is going to become just a bit better to play as the attackers, because your head level could be here on the ground in front of this, or you could be on this box, or you could be on the bigger box here as well, just giving you multiple little levels to play with. And then as we skip it forward again, we're coming over towards B, and we're going to get the similar change here. If I just go back to similar change here to C, where on the entrance to B, we're extending this wall out, and again, little judge's paradise in this corner, real issue to have to deal with. And again, just coming and rushing down on B is going to be harder to take. And so again, coming and taking this B site is going to be harder, because now, you're going to have to be worried. Maybe there is someone here, or an op is in this angle, right? Something like that. You could definitely see like a chamber op setting up in this with the TP behind that wall just there, right? So you're going to have to be worried about stuff like that. But, right now, when you come onto this B site, you can pretty much just swing to here, right? Like, this is almost automatic. No one's ever really here. You can just swing to this, like, straight away. And then, as soon as you've cleared that, then it's just, kind of going through, and you're only looking right now, right? But now, obviously, as you come in, once you've cleared this and maybe this, yes, you're fine. But now, again, you're dealing with now one, and potentially, again, this close corner here, in a lot of trouble as you actually enter in onto the site. And now here's the reason why I say I don't know if, this red box means that these kind of things will be deleted, because this, I think, would be quite weird if, we've got, again, this little box here and the platform across here. This would be weird if they kept this box and added this one as well, right? Like, we can all see that would be kind of a weird thing to do, which makes me think that maybe that these will go, and that, it will just be this platform across here. Don't know if you could plant on this or not, right? Or if, the site would still end where it does now. We'd have to see. But yeah, just making it harder to get in onto the site. And then the same thing is going to happen across here towards the other side of B as well, in towards the kind of mini door. That's going to be much the same. Don't know why we're looking up at that corner, but we'll get there in a second. Here we go. Here's what we came to see. Again, similar thing where, in they come, and again, they have to deal with this angle in here. So again, obviously, anyone coming in here has to deal with, potential two-way little crossfire there. Be interesting if you could spam the door and maybe kill someone, like, on, like, sitting here, right? Like, you kill them as you're spamming through the door. That probably is something that will happen at one point, I'm sure, for someone. But again, it's going to be harder, but also harder for retakes, right? It's kind of become this side, like, a bit more of a high-risk, high-reward. Like, someone sitting in this corner, right, from the first change, like, if you do a B split, and you do still come from this way, right? Like, anyone sitting in that corner is still in a lot of trouble, right? Because there really isn't much cover for that. And so, really, that's a punish for, like, just a fast B rush down this way. But if you come and do a B split, then this person is still in a lot of trouble, right? Because, you're coming in from both directions. They have nowhere to go, essentially. Like, they're going to be in a lot of trouble. And if you come and do a B split and take the site fully, then, for this post plant, it means that, for defenders who are, trying to retake and come back this way, they have the same problem that you did as the attackers, that they have to come and now clear out, this potential, like, crossfire in here and have to deal with that, right? Which isn't going to be easy for them either. So, you know, there's kind of basically, it's more like high risk to get here on B, but higher reward potentially for an easier post plant. Also, just making the whole thing a bit bigger because, you know, some of these places are very, very condensed. You know, a well-placed raise nade in here can just be auto kills. So yeah, I kind of like some of those changes on the whole for taking B. If anything, it might make doing a B split, you know, more like likely or better than just doing a full B main hit, which makes taking A even more important, which is interesting. I guess that's what they want this map to be in a way. So yeah, that would be a pretty interesting change. Now, as we run this forward, this is the end of the changes, right? So this is it. Apparently there's no changes to A, but there's one major thing that I think is missing as well. And the change that I think is missing is that, yes, getting onto this C site, they've made it probably a bit harder, which is good. However, this post plant is still going to be the same, right? Like this plant spot, as far as I can tell, like, you know, adding this wall or whatever, like this plant spot is still going to be, you know, pretty good. And guess what? Planting in here and just running back out here and playing post plant, you know, out towards the mound and just spamming this wildly and just having all 5 people come here and spam this, because guess what? There's no way to really effectively beat this, or no easy way to effectively beat this. Like, that's still gonna be the case. And I guess, you know, some of the changes made it harder to get onto C, and maybe they made it, you know, a bit more approachable with, hey, you can now play in this angle a bit more, and, you know, hey, we've added this wall, which might help as well for post plants, like, whatever. But if this is still by far the best option, then people are going to still be doing this, right? There's just, I didn't see any of those changes really fix this in any way, and to me, this was the major, like, problem with the map, was the, yeah, okay, taking C is harder, so it's going to be harder to just get the spike down in general and C, good, but you know, this post plant, anytime the spike does go down on C, is still going to be a massive ball ache.